In the early 1900s, a group of gold prospectors set up camp deep in the Sierra Nevada mountains of California. The group consisted of several men, women, and children who had traveled from all over the country in search of riches. As they set up camp in a remote clearing, they noticed that something felt off. The air was unusually cold, and strange shadows seemed to dance around the edges of their vision. However, they shrugged it off as nerves and set to work, digging for gold and enjoying the peace and quiet of the wilderness. As the sun set, the group sat around the campfire, telling stories and roasting marshmallows. Suddenly, they heard a loud, piercing scream coming from the woods. They all jumped to their feet, searching for the source of the noise. To their horror, they saw a ghostly figure emerge from the trees. The figure was tall and thin, with glowing eyes and a twisted, distorted face. It let out another blood-curdling scream and disappeared back into the forest. The group was terrified and huddled together for safety. They spent the night in a state of constant fear, hearing strange noises and seeing ghostly apparitions all around them. The next morning, they decided to pack up camp and leave as quickly as possible. However, as they were leaving, they heard a voice calling out to them from the woods. It was the ghostly figure from the night before, begging them to stay. The group refused and fled, but the ghost continued to haunt them for years to come. They reported seeing the figure in their dreams and waking hours, always beckoning them back to the woods. Some even claimed to have gone mad from the constant torment of the ghost. To this day, the ghost is said to haunt the Sierra Nevada mountains, luring unsuspecting campers into its grasp. Those who venture into the woods are warned to stay alert and always be on the lookout for the ghostly figure that still roams the wilderness. In the early 1900s, a family named the Smiths lived in a large Victorian-style mansion in the heart of San Francisco. The family was well known in the community and their home was a popular gathering place for social events and parties. However, tragedy struck the Smith family when their young daughter, Elizabeth, fell ill with a mysterious disease. Despite the efforts of the best doctors in the city, Elizabeth passed away in her bedroom at the age of 10. After Elizabeth's death, strange things began to happen in the Smiths' home. Family members reported hearing footsteps in the hallways, doors opening and closing on their own, and unexplained cold spots in various rooms of the house. Some even claimed to have seen Elizabeth's ghost wandering the halls at night. Years went by, and the Smiths eventually moved out of the house. However, the strange occurrences continued, and the mansion became known as one of the most haunted places in San Francisco. Decades later, a family by the name of the Johnsons purchased the mansion, unaware of its haunted past. They moved in and began to notice strange things happening around the house, just as the Smiths had years before. One night, Mrs. Johnson heard a child's laughter coming from the hallway outside her bedroom. When she got up to investigate, she saw the ghostly figure of a little girl in a Victorian-style dress. The girl smiled at Mrs. Johnson and then disappeared into thin air. The Johnsons were terrified and decided to move out of the house as soon as possible. However, the ghost of Elizabeth continued to haunt the mansion, and it soon became known as one of the most notorious haunted houses in San Francisco. To this day, the mansion still stands, and some say that Elizabeth's ghost can still be seen wandering the halls at night. The house has been featured in books, movies, and television shows, and remains a popular destination for ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts. In the heart of New Orleans, there stands a grand old mansion that has stood for over 150 years. Known as the Beauregard Keys House, the mansion is a prime example of Gothic Revival architecture and has a long and storied history. According to legend, the mansion is haunted by the ghost of a woman named Marie Laveau. Laveau was a famous voodoo queen who lived in New Orleans during the 19th century. She was known for her powers of divination and her ability to cast powerful spells. After Laveau's death, rumors began to circulate that her spirit had been trapped in the Beauregard Keys house. People claimed to see her ghostly figure walking the halls at night, and some even claimed to have heard her voice whispering in the darkness. In 1936, the mansion was purchased by a wealthy businessman named John Beauregard. Beauregard was fascinated by the mansion's haunted reputation and set out to investigate the claims of ghostly activity. One night, as he was walking through the house, he heard a woman's voice singing a haunting melody. The voice seemed to be coming from the walls themselves. Beauregard followed the voice to a small room on the second floor of the mansion. There, he found a beautiful woman dressed in a white gown, singing to herself. As he approached the woman, she disappeared into thin air. Beauregard was left standing alone in the room, trembling with fear. Over the years, many other people have reported seeing the ghost of Marie Laveau in the Beauregard-Keys house. Some have even claimed to have seen her performing voodoo rituals in the mansion's courtyard. Today, the mansion is a popular tourist attraction, and many visitors come to New Orleans in search of a haunted Beauregard-Keys house. While some dismiss the ghostly rumors as mere folklore, others swear that the spirit of Marie Laveau still walks the halls of the mansion to this day.